Hi, wonderful YouTube family. Namaste. So today I want to talk about what it means to be a codependent, what it means to be an empath, and what going no contact means, and what could possibly be the benefits of going no contact with people who have hurt us. And just want to talk about like this no contact concept, because it's so hard. So many of you write me and tell me that, I left a narcissistic relationship and I'm going no contact, or I can't be around my family of origin. I have to go no contact, and things like that. And so I wanted to just, play around with the different ideas as to why it would be important to go into contact, but also ultimately what you and I are trying to attain by going no contact. Like, what's it all about? So, I do understand, and I do completely believe that codependents are created. They are not born. They are created. They are victims of child abuse, whether it's overt, covert, or abuse by omission. When you are not tenderly cared for, that is abusive. When you are ignored, that is abusive. When no one's there and no one gives a crap, how your day was, that is abusive. When you're fed, like you feed a dog in a cage in a pet store, and you're not loved, and you're not spoken to, and you're not held, and that maternal bond is not encouraged, that's abusive, because that experience of having maternal love returned to you ultimately becomes the love that you learn to give to yourself. There is a mystical connection between a mother, a father, and a child that they have brought into this life experience that we call planet Earth. And that connection, that I exist, I matter, is actually what I believe allows our brain to turn on to the idea that there is an inner being within us. The goal for every person born, in my opinion, okay, again, I'm not saying I know everything. I'm just saying that this is my opinion. This is my channel, so this is my opinion. And if it resonates with you, great. If it doesn't, click off. No problems, no problem. I think that the goal of humanity is to learn how to transcend the mind. It's to learn how to live from the inside out. It's to learn, better way to say it is, the goal is to allow our inner beings to control this. I feel like the first part of our life, like the Genesis says, we come, and I'm not a Bible person, and I'm not a religious person, but there's a lot of wisdom in that book. When we're born, a great sleep falls upon us. We forget that we're innate divinity. We forget. And we're born to people who have their own crap, who've been abused by their parents, who are alcoholics, who are schizophrenic, who are addicted, whatever, indifferent, narcissistic. And so now we're born to these people. Now, we're not connected. Our brain is not wired to the self. This is all about neural wiring and associations and understanding and conceptualizing. And so we're born, our spirit incarnates in this flesh that has a brain, and we're born to people who are wounded, and our mind gets corrupted, and so now we're blind to this innate self. Now, our experience is kind of robotic. Mom and dad ignore us, they're ignoring their feelings, and so what do? We ignore our innate self. Wrong, screwed up, totally screws us up, because the only way to be happy is to live the inside out. This brain is a magnificent thing, and it's our goal to somehow learn how to allow the spirit to rule the mind. What we are is a planet full of people who are allowing their minds to govern their inner spirits, and that's why there's so much conflict. So, what most people on this planet are not saying is, why do I think that? Why am I a Jehovah's Witness? Am I a Jehovah's Witness, or is my mother a Jehovah's Witness? Have I been brainwashed to be a Jehovah's Witness? Do I believe in God, or don't I believe in God? Do I believe in this? Do I believe that because I'm a certain race, or because I'm a certain sex that I'm not worthy? And where'd that idea come from? People are generally not taught to ask themselves those questions. So, part of this healing journey is to recognize that there's a big picture. And codependents and empaths, in my opinion, now this is the thing with empaths, I had a very rough emotional childhood. It was really just messed up. I wanted to commit suicide. I didn't feel real. I suffered from like OCD symptoms. It's just a mess. And so when I reflect back, because I'm a thinker, I'm retrospective, I oftentimes ask myself, was I born an empath? Now I'm a Pisces, that very sensitive, very intuitive by nature, but was I born an empath, or was I taught that I absolutely had no right to boundaries? And was I brainwashed to absolutely, for the sake of survival, was I brainwashed to become other-focused? And is that where this empathy comes from, or this incredible ability to sense what other people are feeling, thinking, and needing? So those of you who find yourself very empath, like thinking, like as an empath, like, oh my God, like I can't be around a lot of people. I need to, I'm being overwhelmed by information and data. It's hard for me to hold on to myself when someone else is in the room. I need to get away and recharge myself. That's generally how we feel as empaths. We can't turn it off. Like, we are always getting bombarded with how we think. If there are 10 people in the room, we are having 10 different conversations in our head about what is she feeling, what is he feeling. I know why he looks that way. I know why she's doing that. Oh, I can feel that. I can, and we're just getting lost and topsy-turvy, and this conversation is going on in our head, and we've lost our footing, and where do we exist? Like, where's our boundary versus Tom, Dick, and Harry, Mary, Jane, and Sue? Where are we? So, and also we're very hypersensitive to sounds, so hypersensitive to loud noises, hypersensitive to lots of movement. And so it's just that we don't know how to block and shield and guard ourselves from what's happening around us. It's sort of like we live in this bubble, and we just keep getting pierced, like all these arrows are coming at us, and we don't know how to deflect. So I always wonder, like, what would have happened if I grew up feeling grounded? Like, if who I was accepted, what would life have been like for me if, I mattered? If the message was, how you think and how you feel is something that I honor, and your job as my child, imagine my mother saying, your job is to tap into your divine self and then to project that, because your divine self is pure love, light, and energy. Love, light, energy. There's nothing to be ashamed of, nothing to worry about. Some people are drinking a Kool-Aid and they're still asleep. And that's okay. And your job, Lisa, is to just come here and allow this innate being to rule this mind. Use this mind as a tool. Where do you want to go? What do you want to say? How are you going to express it? I think about that, and then I wonder, had that been my reality, would I be me today? I don't think so, because my ability to stay connected to others was born out of all that dysfunction. And so I've learned on this journey how to ground myself, and how to put boundaries up, and how to honor my feelings. That was a long road. So my first book is called The Road Back to Me. That's the first part of the process, going, okay, I never felt validated, thus I seek validation. I thought that I had to prove myself worthy, and so I've been trying to prove myself worthy, and then the validation doesn't come, and then I'm pissed, and then I'm resentful, and so I get it. I'm not a bad person, I'm just codependent. That was the road back to me. The second part, of my journey, I talk about in my second book, My Road Beyond the Codependent Divorce. That's when all the pieces, I had to put what I learned, put the pedal to the metal. And, I had to start walking the talk, man. That was the hardest part. Well, maybe no. I think waking up and realizing this isn't going to work. I'm surrounded by other sick codependents and narcissists, and they're not willing to shift. And oh my God, I've got to get out. And so that's really what I wanted to talk about. And I had to preface this video with that information 10 minutes in, because you can't just start a video and say, okay, go no, you're codependent, you're married to a narcissist, your mom's a narcissist, your children are narcissists, go no contact. No, you have to understand the big picture. The big picture is to let go and accept with love and light. You have to understand that when you go no contact, if you go no contact and there's this idea in the head that you need to protect yourself, then you're resisting. And you're going to attract that which you resist. Meaning, if I feel afraid and I'm letting go out of fear, I will attract that vibration. This is a cause and effect universe. So it's so much better and easier, and this is what I try when my clients get to a point in their recovery journey that they're ready to let go. And it's so sad, it's so surreal. The goal is to them, if they feel they need to go no contact, which in most cases we do, because the other person that we're dealing with has no radar for someone else's self. It's all about them. So I've had clients who are leaving alcoholics and they say, well, I don't drink when you're here. You know what that means? That means that person is trying to make you feel guilty for wanting to move forward. And they know that you're a codependent. They don't know, they might not have the verbiage, but they know, oh, she gonna fall for that. So let me just, hit it where it hurts. My ex-husband used to say, you're breaking up the family. I didn't break up the family. Like, this relationship broke up the family, and you don't hear me. So you're breaking us. Like, I'm willing to work on it. You're telling me no, you're not going to change. So, but it was that type of language. Look what you're doing. You're breaking up the family. The kids aren't going to wake up with the mother and the father in the next bedroom. You know what? It's better to raise your children in one happy home than, in a one-parent home that's happy than in a two-parent home that's miserable and perpetuating codependent and narcissistic abuse. That dynamic. Because remember, that becomes the framework. That's their template. Those of you who coach with me, what's your template? So, if that's the kind of language that's being used against you, just see it for what it is. It's manipulation. And so that would be another reason to go no contact. But this is it. It's all about your intent. We don't go no contact and think, hey, F you, buddy. I'm going no contact. I need to protect myself from you. And I'm angry. And go F the world. And I'm never letting anybody hurt me again. Be very, very careful. Because if you are letting go and shutting the door out of fear, you're still in a dark vibration. You're still being controlled by the program. When you're no longer controlled by the program, letting go feels good. It's almost like, I'm getting goosebumps just saying this, imagine yourself being a drop of water in the ocean. And there are sharks around you, but you don't care, because you're a drop of water in the ocean. And it's almost like you're letting go, but you're accepting everything. And so you're not in a position where their energies can particularly land, because you're not a vibrational match for their energies anymore. And so I just had a client recently struggling with letting go, and unfortunately it's with children. And I've had this experience myself where I had to let go of my son when he was 19, and it broke my effing heart. Like, I oozed tears. It was just excruciating. But what I learned at that time, I wasn't as advanced on my journey as I am now, and I said some terrible things to my son that I will take with me forever. And I've tried, and I do. I offer myself self-compassion because I didn't know better then. I was angry. My ex-husband was playing with his head. And then my son was saying some of the things that my ex-husband was putting in his head. And in that moment of pain, and I tell codependents all the time, like, you have to take care of yourself physically, because when you're tired, I believe your consciousness drops. And when your consciousness drops, when your awareness drops, guess what? It drops into that big mess of your programming, and that's what shows up. So here I am getting into it with my son, and things are coming out of my mouth that I regret, that wounded him deeply, that we still talk about today. That I ask for forgiveness for, because in my opinion, that is just unacceptable. Like, the parent is supposed to have their shit together. Like, you're supposed to be the one that's guiding them. But when you're the adult child of an abused home, what you realize is that you're still a child. I was a child. I was a big girl. All 5'7" of me. I was a big girl, but I was a child. When I had my son, Jesus Christ, maybe I was, how old was I? 16 emotionally. I was 23 or 24. But if I was as mature as a 16-year-old, I'm being generous. And I'm just saying it like it is. When you grow up and you're constantly beaten down, and it's like people are ripping off your scabs. When the people that you love, you fall down and you're bleeding, and your parents say, that doesn't hurt. That you disassociate, because you're thinking, do I hurt? Do I not hurt? Maybe I don't hurt. I hear it all the time. It's innocuous, and it's so sad. And I wish that I could get a megaphone and say, cut it out, to parents in like grocery stores, like, that's not right, that's dysfunctional. I was in a grocery store the other day, and a little girl in the aisle in front of me bumped into the shopping cart, and she knew that I saw her. So she looked at me kind of like all embarrassed, like ashamed. And what I did was I made a face like, you poor baby, I see you, I see that pain. So she goes to her mom, who's holding another baby in her arm. Mommy, mommy, mommy. And she's telling her, I bumped my head. And the mom, busy, trying to get through the day, I get it. Has got the kid shaking, the infant in her arm, trying to pick out her avocados or whatever the hell she was getting for her guacamole later on that day. And she says to the little girl, stop it, you're fine. And I saw in that moment, the little girl went, totally invalidated. That happens every single day in a child's life. And we as parents don't recognize that that's how we are wounding our children. So if you have any of that going on in your life, please, I beg of you as mothers and fathers to pay attention when you blow your kid off. Because in blowing the kid off, you're teaching them that they don't matter. And so, as codependents and empaths, it's my opinion that a large majority of us are the way we are because we have been taught that we don't exist, that we don't have boundaries. So now, without boundaries, we are these empathetic people who are surrounded by other people's energies, and we become other-focused, other-directed. We know what other people need, but we don't know what we need because no one ever taught us to tap into self. What do you need, Lisa? How do you feel, Nancy? What do you need, Candy? No one's asking you. So your brain is missing that data. It's just, frequencies are codes. And when someone's kind to you, look at that as a code. So when mother is kind to you, that's a code. So now that's been downloaded into your mind. If mother and father are like, frickin' frack, Bonnie and Clyde, and they disregard you, that's your data. So you're out and about in the world, and you're like, oh yeah, I'll take care of that, and oh, you need that, and I'll take it. Okay, I'll wash your dog, and I'll take your kid to kindergarten, and oh, your daughter needs to be picked up from soccer, no problem. Hello, what about how you feel? What about what you need? What about you don't want to crawl into bed at midnight because you've been taking care of everybody else's shit? What about that? You're just missing that data. Going no contact is sometimes very, very necessary from people who do not see you. Now, you also have to understand, and I love Ross Rosenberg's analogy, where he talks about a continuum and how, a wounded narcissist attracts an equal wounded codependent. And it makes for a terrible, terrible, terrible dance. Very dysfunctional. And when codependents heal, they shift. They're no longer a vibrational match for their narcissists. And in most cases, I know a lot of people don't want to hear this, but in most cases, the relationship can't last, and it shouldn't last. The codependent's got to keep getting better. A narcissist can heal if the narcissist wishes to heal. But in most cases, the narcissist has to manage his narcissistic injury. So he has to be hyper aware of what is triggering, his old pattern or her old pattern, which is quite a courageous soul. I don't think there's a whole lot of people out there who are willing to do that in terms of if they are narcissistic. Much better chance of healing a codependent than a narcissist. So if you decide to go no contact, and I know I did. I had to go no contact with my child for a while. He and I are amazingly getting goosebumps again. We're finally on an awesome path, in my opinion, and it's only getting better. But I think that's because I let go in love and light. And what I teach my clients is, especially when it comes to your children, and you need to let go of your children who perhaps are part of the program, and now what they're doing is they're throwing up the program on you. Maybe stuff that dad said to them, maybe stuff that your mother said to them, but they're affected by the program. Your goal is to let go in love and light. Your goal is to imagine your child the way you want to see your child. So what I do, and what I've done for many years, is, when I'm out and about on my walks and I'm doing my meditations and I'm appreciating the trees and the sun and the hummingbirds, and the water and whatever. I'm just in it, man. I'm just flowing love and light energy. I am like, woo, in touch with the universe. I'm a hippie, loving everything, in my own head. It's my experience. What I'll do is I milk this space of abundance within me, and I feel like love energy is just flowing through me. I'm just a conduit, On a quantum level, love energy is flowing through me, literally. I'm not solid, Wind isn't solid. So when I am able to muster myself up into that state, it's in that state I begin to visualize my son's face, and I see him happy. And I visualize us laughing over a cup of coffee. And I visualize my children getting along. Because when you come from a dysfunctional home, your kids don't get along. They don't know about boundaries. My daughter's just had a fight today, and I'm like, Minky, what the frick is going on here? It's just, and I could see it. They don't take the time to validate one another. Both wonderful children, my two daughters. But back and forth, not hearing one another. And then when I step in, the one says, you're taking her side. I'm not. I'm just trying to teach you guys how to communicate. But to them, I'm just mom. I'm not the breakthrough life coach. But it is what it is. But again, as soon as my daughter huffed and puffed and she left, we're having a hurricane here today. As soon as she left, it's not that bad. It's the edge. I don't want you to think that my daughter ran out into this horrible hurricane distress. No. We are getting wind and rain, but it's not that bad. But as soon as she left, I said, okay, dear one, in love and light, I'm not going to sit in the energy of being angry. I'm sending you love and light. I know that you're misunderstanding, and I know that what just happened is a projection of the programming that you've witnessed all your life, and you've absorbed your life. And so, in love and light, dear one, in love and light, be safe. And I'll see you in an hour, So, even if you're going, I say with children, if you're going no contact with your children, it's so important that you let them go because they have to figure stuff out. And the more you try to get them to see your side, the more they're going to push you away because you're trying to control their perception. Accept their perception in love and light. That means there's no resistance. And guess what? You cannot attract negativity from them. You just can't because you're not a vibrational match. Now, a lot of us, especially, moms out there, we don't want to hear that the children that we gave birth to don't want anything to do with us. But sometimes that is just the way it has to be temporarily. And I say when we let go in love and light and they're not coming at us, that is an indicator, in my opinion, we're doing something right. Because we're able to hold on to our energies and think loving thoughts about them and imagine them being happy, imagine them in beautiful cars, imagine them in beautiful homes, imagine them, in beautiful relationships, imagine them fishing, imagine them dancing, imagine them eating fine food, dressed in fine clothes. Just imagine. That's giving your brain new data. And so that's a frequency. So when you need to let go with the intent of letting go in love and light. You must bypass and step away from dark energies. Don't let go, or if you are letting go and it's like, bam, I got to shut the door. Go general, as Abraham Hicks says. Go general with letting go. So it sounds something like this. today I need to let go of my child because I understand that she sees me in a negative light. She blames me for what happened when she was a little girl. And I can understand that she's been subjected to dysfunctional others, her dad, my in-laws, whatever, siblings, whatever. And I understand that my daughter and I once both sipped this crazy Kool-Aid, and I accept that I no longer wish to drink this Kool-Aid, and I am stepping out of the box, and I am loving myself, and I'm loving her. So from up here, well, where am I? So from over here, if my child's here, I'm going to radiate love and light down on my child, even though she's still part of this program. And I'm going to keep walking, keep ascending and keep ascending in my own love and light energy and keep attracting great things. And in the meantime, I'm going to see my daughter the way I wish to see her and send her a different energy. And when she's ready, if and when my daughter's ready to bust free of the program and she needs healing and she needs me to validate her, I will be there for her. So I hope this helps you, dear one. I hope that it makes some sense. Please let me know. I have, I think, 3 seats left to my seminar on Long Island, November 14th. Love to have you there. For those of you who are reading my books, I really do appreciate when you guys leave me a review, and I would be more than happy to send those of you who do a copy of my latest ebook. All you have to do is reach out to me at lisaromano@gmail.com. I would love to do that for you. Please check out my website at www.healingselfesteem.com. I have MP3s available there. And in the very near future, I will be actually selling my courses in a video series online, so look forward to that. It's all about ascension, dear one, and letting go in love and light. And for those of you who are codependent and empaths, your agenda is to learn how to peel back how other directed you are or other-centered you are, and learn to be more self-centered, not in a selfish way, but self-centered, and learn how to respect your boundaries and your right to say no when you mean no and yes when you mean yes, and learn to be still when setting a boundary for yourself and allowing other people to be pissed off. They have a right to their own feelings just as you do. They are on a sacred path whether they know it or not. And you are truly, truly the fortunate one if you are the one who is emotionally sober and is aware of your path. So in love and light, dear one, it's all about in love and light. I so see you. Namaste. Bye.